I've been many things to many people. I played music in front of people since I was 12 years old. I've done stand-up comedy, poetry reading, plays, improv troops, but my favorite is performing art shows where anything goes and everything works. Anytime that music, stand-up comedy, free associated stories, and poetry meet together, well, I'm a happy guy. Some days, being a performance artist fills me with a grief and regret, never shame. I have no pride, I have no shame. Two sides of a coin to which no value remains. You have to understand that despite genre, education, age, or income, there are only two types of writing performers. Those that do it so it can open doors and lead them on to better things so they don't have to perform anymore. The other group, usually the least successful, are the ones for the simple thrill of being in the moment and giving yourself over onto and into the creative process as it happens. Imagination and friendly favors can only take you so far. Eventually you need a gimmick or a manager, which is like saying the same thing twice. I met Kristen after a poetry reading one night. She had been to see a friend read and just wanted to let me know that my poems weren't bad. For amateurs, this is considered praise. For professionals, this is a mental trigger for relapse or another suicide attempt. Suicide is no laughing matter, although sadly it does seem to move artistic product along. Kristen told me that my piece about the female janitor at a dirt mall who convinces a mall rat to eat her out while she's standing up, it had a lot of courage in it. It was a journal entry I borrowed from my dream analysis group. We meet every Tuesday and read from our dream journals. Nobody ever said that I couldn't use dreams as artistic fodder, and writing out the neuroses has helped me come to terms with my own, and in that sense we all move forward in the realm of self. We all like to think that given enough time, money, and resources that we're all going to make Tolkien's Lord of the Rings. But that ain't the truth. Given enough time and money, most of us make P. Jackson's King Kong. How you get your balls big enough to make a boring 4-hour monster movie? It wasn't guilt that pushed me into Confession Town, but I told Kristen the origin of the female janitor getting gobbled up. I told her of my prayer group, my dream analysis group, but I told Kristen her about my dream group and suggested she attend the next meeting of our minds. Kristen winced at the idea, sharing her dreams with strangers on a Tuesday night. I gave her the address and secret password for that week. There was no password required, but I just love the awkward moment created when I invite a stranger over to a friend's house and they utter a misnomer like Catfish Aquarium or Battered Brown, and the host is then forced to place this idea into any context. Onward, awkward, until good grace shows us the way to something else. Kristen's secret password, Pleasant Valley Citrus. Kristen asked what my day job was, At these poetry readings, it is made abundantly clear, straight up, that nobody is paying their mortgage with their angst. Yet. I told Kristen that I was the chief librarian of the Aryan chapter of Islam. They march around that giant cube, some mumbo-jumbotron version of the cube in Hellraiser, Pinhead. My eyes were magnetized to Christian's pulverized raw wrist, caught my eye all red and puffy. She had been covering them up at the day job, pretending to keep track of accounts receivable at her uncle's dirt merchant incorporation. In her fluorescent stall, with its recycled air that made her feel all itchy and embarrassed, but it was better than finding real work. Nepotism, keeping the species from actually advancing for over 1,000 years. Kristen filled out form after form into the night, up early in the morning. Oh, how her supervisor did scorn when the triplicates arrived torn. These forms, these horrible, boring forms. Sure, they bring in a liveliness, but they leave Kristen leaving worn in a pile of these horrible forms. Weekend came and went without consequence. Monday day job duties, a beauty, a bevy, so holds up the levy. Some chicken, some TV, then off to dream. Some steam, some seem to have the wool by the tail, but that won't wag the dog any more than the trough eats the hog. I mean to say, it's all connected if you really want to take the time. Lord knows that time takes a piece of us. Lord knows that time takes a piece of us. To make peace, you did know that peace on earth is a game of make-believe, right? Hope I didn't give away a secret here. I hope it's not like when I tell people that professional wrestling is staged. Santa is a concept, not a real guy. Democracy set aside for representative republic industrial divisions of how now. Haven't we gotten a bit off track? Monday night I dreamed of prayers and rings and silly things that swim about a nervous sky. There, very little sensual nutriment to scrounge, but sure enough, some there to be found. A gal in my dream came right up to me bearing a hint of baby powder scent and heaving breasts, an intoxicating voice that doubled with dew and revoked the choice. I feel safe in here for now, forbear, all teed off. This evening's dream share group will be held at Jembalin's house. She may very well be the dislocated angel that religions prophesize about with such vigor and hope that it may just sanctify the agnostics accidentally, relentlessly. Jembalin smells like baby powder and sunshine, and whenever I am greeted at her front door, she hugs just a few seconds more than everybody else, and I feel that this entitles me to kiss her on the cheek, which I do at every convenience. Her cheek tastes like smiles and smiley confectionery. Tonight's Dream Share group beings with an upside of anti-socialism, recent newbie Stranglehouse Stan and his bony-faced fiancée, Erectilephoria, spout sour affirmations because in the 3 dream meetings these charlatans have attended, all their dreams pertain to bony-faced fiancés' uncle's new enterprise, which is timeshare on lakes. You buy a lake with a bunch of gullible, greedy dipshits, then in turn find a whole bunch of greedy, gullible dipshits, and timeshare the shit out of a lake until everybody in your secular circle jerk is wealthy, fat, and tan, and safe from the oncoming recession, which is going to be a doozy. I understand that dream analysis to many, aw shucks, come on, to most, dream analysis is kind of corny, random, meaningless, waste of time. That may be true, but that cruel criticism could be applied to film, ballet, classical music, or another impassioned attempt to entertain and give weight to life's lofty, unsatisfied tedium. Dream analysis in groups makes as much sense as a pastime as any other semantic pursuit and is just as valid. That being said, when ambitious upstarts use group therapy to hawk their wares, when needy types use every possible social interaction to spread the greedy gospel, when people turn you into a walking automatic teller, as a collective we have dropped the ball. When you allow other people to wear the agenda like a cheap cologne, and we all got to take a big fat whiff. Nay, the free baser took hold, exhale, hit of a gargantuan dosage of Diablo's dirty deed, done with teeth. Put your money and hope in the middle, you get broke like coal. Big shock. Stranglehouse Stan's dream tonight was about how he sees his and bony-faced fiancée erectile folias. Stan sees their business being such a brave new venture, like a mighty bird just taking off into the night, bright blue sky, and he wants us to be in with him when it really takes off, which may inspire some, but all that tells me is he hasn't made a fucking money yet. His bird is taken off, but he wants us, and more importantly, our money with him as it takes off into the great beyond. Fuck you, buddy. We're talking dreams and visions and basic mind meals. We cook in the kitchen of our frontal lobes and not networking them around, trying to latch onto living things near up to survive. We're dreamers. We're not parasites. Not yet.